Step into a world where tradition and elegance coalesce. Welcome to Refined Roots. In this video, we'll explore how farmhouse decor, grounded in heritage and humble materials, is being reimagined through the lens of rustic luxury. Whether you're updating a countryside retreat or elevating a city home, this style speaks to heart and home. Rustic luxury isn't about excess, it's about essence. It captures the tactile beauty of raw materials and pairs them with polished, thoughtful design. Picture weathered wood, soft linen, and stone, layered with rich textures and bespoke details. It's where rural charm meets refined sensibility. Modern farmhouse decor has come a long way from its agrarian roots. What once belonged in barns now finds a place in beautifully curated spaces. Reclaimed beams, old barn doors, and galvanized metals gain new life when styled with intention, balance, and high-end accents. A refined farmhouse color palette leans into nature, creamy whites, warm taupes, gentle grays, and muted greens. These calming hues provide a serene foundation. They allow rustic elements to shine without overwhelming the space, while setting the tone for understated sophistication. In Rustic Luxury, texture tells the story. Think nubby wool throws, stone fireplaces, worn leather, and aged wood. Each element invites touch and adds a layer of sensory richness. Texture is what keeps neutrals from falling flat and turns minimalism into warmth. Wide plankwood floors, especially in matte finishes, are a signature of refined farmhouse design. Their imperfections, knots, grain, and natural color variation tell a story. Add a vintage rug with soft wear and classic pattern to blend comfort with heirloom character. Exposed wooden beams do more than hold up the ceiling, they bring soul into a room. In a rustic luxury farmhouse, they are celebrated, not hidden. Leave them raw or lime-washed, and let their natural history be part of your home's narrative. Stone and brick bring an enduring quality to farmhouse interiors. Whether it's a fireplace surround, accent wall, or a kitchen backsplash, these elements offer timelessness. When paired with warm lighting and refined finishes, they feel both grounded and luxurious. of the simplest ways to add elegance to a rustic space is through lighting. Think wrought iron chandeliers, milk glass pendants, or antique brass sconces. These fixtures serve as functional art, softening rustic roughness with sculptural form and ambient glow. Farmhouse kitchens thrive on utility and charm. Open shelving, apron-front sinks, and wood countertops remain staples. Elevate the look with unlacquered brass hardware, marble accents, and handcrafted tile. The result? A kitchen that feels lived in, but looks curated. Shaker-style cabinets still dominate farmhouse interiors for good reason. They offer simplicity with substance. For a luxe update, opt for custom colors, inset doors, and elegant knobs. A gentle gray-blue or muted sage adds quiet depth while honoring tradition. The farmhouse dining room is a place of gathering, laughter, and long meals. A sturdy wood table, often reclaimed, is the centerpiece. Layer with linen runners, hand-thrown pottery, and aged silverware to mix homespun warmth with cultivated style. A refined farmhouse embraces contrast. Pairing antique pieces with modern lines keeps things fresh. A contemporary sofa beneath an old barn beam, or a vintage trunk at the foot of a sleek bed, these juxtapositions breathe life into every room. Forget stiff or overly precious fabrics. Think stone-washed linens, plush velvets, and distressed leathers. In earthy tones and layered neutrals, these materials echo the landscape and enhance the farmhouse's honest, comfortable aesthetic, without sacrificing luxury. Rustic luxury thrives on subtlety. A single branch in a ceramic vase. An antique mirror with worn silvering. A stack of well-loved books. These are the moments that tell stories without shouting. Every detail is purposeful and calm. In the farmhouse bedroom, luxury is found in simplicity. Neutral linen bedding, a weathered bench at the foot of the bed, and vintage bedside tables create a restful palette. Add candlelight or a soft reading lamp for an extra layer of warmth. Rustic luxury bathrooms often feature materials that age gracefully: copper fixtures, stone sinks, or handmade tiles. Wood vanities and freestanding tubs bring the charm, while natural light and minimalist styling offer a spa-like serenity. A true farmhouse always considers the porch. This space bridges indoors and out, inviting nature to be part of the home. Use rocking chairs, weather-resistant fabrics, and overhead fans. Add soft lighting to extend evenings into restful twilight hours. Even utilitarian spaces deserve design love. In a refined farmhouse, the mudroom might feature beadboard paneling, built-in storage, and beautiful hooks or baskets. Durable yet stylish, it sets the tone as you transition between the outside world and your sanctuary. Whether it's a pie safe, an old workbench repurposed as an island, or a vintage oil painting, antiques bring narrative. Choose pieces that resonate with personal history or regional charm to root your home in authentic farmhouse storytelling. A fireplace anchors the farmhouse living space. Whether stone, brick, or plastered, it's a statement of both warmth and architecture. Dress it with understated decor, a few candles, a rustic beam mantle, or vintage framed art above the hearth. One of the easiest ways to reinforce farmhouse authenticity is by bringing nature indoors. Wildflowers in a simple jug, a bowl of pine cones, or driftwood on a shelf, these elements ground the home in its surroundings and reflect the changing seasons. Say goodbye to heavy drapes. Light filtering linen curtains or wooden shutters suit this style best. They let in natural light, frame pastoral views, and maintain the farmhouse's airy, open atmosphere. Sometimes, no covering at all is the most luxurious choice. Each major furniture piece should feel substantial and storied. A farmhouse table, a leather armchair, or a four-poster bed, these anchors can be passed down for generations. Quality craftsmanship and natural materials always speak louder than brand names. Create visual interest with curated gallery walls. Mix family photos, vintage oil landscapes, botanical prints, and farmhouse artifacts like keys or tools. The arrangement should feel collected, not curated, organic layers of memory and meaning. Layering rugs is a cozy farmhouse secret. Start with a large jute or sisal base and add a smaller vintage or Persian-style rug on top. This approach softens hardwood floors and adds a touch of bohemian luxe without veering off theme. Architectural salvage, like old doors, corbels, or windows, adds depth and charm. Mounted above a bed or repurposed into a headboard or mirror frame, these pieces carry history and character that no mass-produced item can replicate. Shiplap and board and batten walls are timeless, but in a refined farmhouse, go a step further. Use lime wash paint, plaster finishes, or textured wallpaper in soft hues to create quiet, soulful depth without overwhelming the space. Metal finishes in a rustic luxury home are meant to patina, not shine. Choose aged brass, antique bronze, or matte black. When thoughtfully layered, such as cabinet knobs, faucets, and lighting, they add structure without stealing attention from organic elements. In the end, Refined Roots is about balance. It honors the grit of the past and embraces the grace of the present. It's farmhouse decor elevated, not trendy or cold, but soulful, storied, and serene. With Rustic Luxury, you're not just decorating a house, you're crafting a legacy.